Being joined by Professor Alan Burstein, live from California. He's an Israel Institute Fellow and a visiting assistant professor at the Department of Political Science, University of California. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Sir, just to understand this better, what's your view of the United States support to Israel, especially now that they're deploying more military assets to the region? In fact, the first plane carrying U.S. arms has already arrived in Israel. What's your assessment?
Well, the United States has always prided itself on being Israel's staunch ally, and it has every year allocates billions of dollars in aid to Israel's defense. In the current context, the United States is really worried about the situation spiraling out of control. Iran and Hamas movement are pressuring the Hezbollah movement in Lebanon to enter into the foray. There are other groups in Syria, possibly even in Iraq, that may want to enter into the foray, and the United States really does not want to be involved. It does not want to have the situation in the Middle East spiral out of control, torpedoing whatever deals they wanted to have with Saudi Arabia, and etc. So this is all really a show of force by the United States saying, keep the war contained, quote unquote, between Israel and Gaza. Let's scare other organizations out of possibly entering the war and leading to World War III starting from the Middle East.
Right, Professor, the hostage situation, that has emerged as a major concern as well. What sort of a plan of action do you think should be taken going forward?
It's impossible to say because Israel has never faced such a situation. The most amount of hostages or hijacked or kidnapped people that Israel has ever faced was when Palestinian militant organizations hijacked an Israeli plane in the 1970s to Uganda, and there was 105 people, Israelis, that were hijacked, and Israel launched a raid to rescue them. This is an entirely different situation. The most amount of people that have ever been held by a terror organization in the Middle East fighting Israel has been 3, maybe 5, depending on which reports we believe. This is unprecedented. And I'll say even more than that. It's unprecedented for the Hamas movement. And I would even dare say that the Hamas movement and the Palestinian Islamic Jihad did not plan for this scenario. They expected Israeli intelligence, the famed Israeli intelligence, to know what their plans are, to be waiting for them, and to stop most of their insurgency. And maybe they would manage to kidnap 5 people. Maybe they would manage to carry out some carnage. They did not expect all of their battalions to get through, carrying out the worst terror attack in terms of at least numbers of attackers that were successful in history. So in that sense, both the Hamas movement, I think, is currently unaware how are they going to use these hostages, and at the same time, Israel doesn't really know how do you deal with the situation. It's really an unprecedented time in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Professor, that being said, of course, as you mentioned as well, intelligence failure, the United States has conceded to intelligence failure as well. That is something that's raised a lot of questions as well. What would you say are the factors or the reasons behind such grave intelligence failure?
Unfortunately, this is going to be a subject of research probably for the next 20 to 30 years. Israeli intelligence is famous for knowing everything that goes on in the Palestinian territories. When Israel wanted to in the past carry out targeted assassinations, some of the most famous ones being against the leaders of Hamas in 2003 and 2004, they were able to fire missiles hitting the wheelchair of the Hamas leader, firing missiles hitting the specific car, the specific window in which the deputy leader was there. The Israeli intelligence is famous for knowing everything about the Palestinians. In turn, this operation by Hamas was planned, it's already been confirmed, has been planned for over a year. It's been planned for over a year, participated in it. The IDF, as you said, is now reporting over 1,500 Palestinian terrorists in the operation itself, let alone how many people knew about it in the past. It is unclear. It is totally unclear how Israeli intelligence missed this so greatly.
Right.
There are rumors, even though they are denied by the United States, there are rumors that Iran may have participated on the day of the attack to send spy software in order to tamper with Israeli satellite images or something like that so they wouldn't know what was happening. But how Israeli intelligence did not know this was coming in advance is something that I, as someone who has studied the conflict now for 10 years, I honestly have no clue. I'm sorry to say. How could such a thing be missed? We don't really know.
Professor Burstein, thank you so much for joining us on WION with your insights on this.
Thank you. Have a good day.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.